Hey kids, it's Jurassic James, and this is Jurassic James Explains. We're looking at Mamenchiosaurus. Now, let's see. Obviously, this is the best, not the best, I shouldn't say that, but of the dinosaurs, the best of the birthday presents. So first and foremost, sample supply, and it was the oldest as far as my collection goes. In actuality, this one is older than this one, but I'll tell you the story. So my first interaction with Mamenchiosaurus was not a paper, it was not a book. I was actually watching Jurassic Park: The Lost World, 1997, last century, kids. And there was a scene where the ancient hunters were collecting dinosaurs and hunting them down, and they show a guy on a motorcycle and he's riding, and it's this long neck, and I knew it wasn't Brachiosaurus. It didn't look like a Patasaurus. It looked very different from the shot we saw like a couple seconds. The motorcycle rider goes behind it and drives through its legs, and that was Mamenchiosaurus. So at the time, the first one I received was this guy here. There's not very many of them on the market. They are getting more popular now, but the idea is this Chinese dinosaur is really cool. Now, what stands out about it is this incredibly long neck, and also as far as proportions go, its neck is shorter it's longer than its tail. And when I would teach with this one, people would always wonder what's going on there. Since this model being made in the 90s, if I remember correctly, this is a Safari 1993 model. Again, it has a very, very long neck, but as you see with our PNSO figure, this view of it has changed a lot since then. But again, one thing to point out here is that I'm going to go over more with this actual figure where it stands in the family tree of sauropods. That's being debated right now, or debated in general. But the idea here is that it's not quite like Diplodocus or Brachiosaurus. It's very different. And of course, for them, it was very much a low-slung animal with an incredibly long neck. One thing to point out with this is that when you have a neck this long, you have a huge feeding range. And the idea is you want to expend the least amount of energy and be able to get the most amount of food, basically, right? So if you are an herbivore eating vegetation, you're standing in one spot or sitting in one spot. You can eat here and there and move. That's really cool. Versus if you have a shorter neck or a smaller mouth, and you have to eat here and move and eat here and move, you're burning off energy while you're taking food in. The idea for them, if your sauropods in general have this large feeding ranges, so that's what makes it stand apart. That being said, the next model, which is the older model, but I got it second, is the British Museum model. I think the year is 70 something, I can't remember correctly. 1983. Nah, not sure. These were on eBay basically. Again, you're seeing the long tail, the short tail, long neck. As far as articulation, doesn't appear to be the musculature to make the neck do this in real life, as far as at least the vertebra. But in general, you're looking at this interesting design. This comes from a line of animals that I might even do a video just on the British Museum style, right? But at the time of creation, these models were thought to be the most scientifically accurate design of the time. So the idea is that they were, proportionally calculated to what they are. And some scientists actually use them for density buoyancy studies. So they will look at how much water is displaced by dipping one of these models into a vat of water and calculating the size of the animal. The problem with that math is it doesn't account for air sacs and hollows and lung size versus heart and the liver will be very solid, not solid, but thicker fluid filled parts. Lungs are full of air. That will throw off its weight, not just the size. But anyway, so the best way to calculate the mass of the animal, the weight of the animal, because those things were varied in the animal's design. But overall, you're seeing the general elephantine forelimb. All sauropods are often depicted with at least one big claw. And the macronarians, the Brachiosaurus and titanosaurs, they often have a different setup. But the idea is that there's always this one bigger claw and then these elephant-like feet here. So these guys are, again, what you had to look forward to until PNSO came along. I have seen some smaller Mamenchiosaurus models, but when I saw this one online, I was like, that's the one. That's the goat, right? So first and foremost, look how wide this is. And I will now use the official scissors of Jurassic James. And I want to point out too, on the box it says made in China, which because the company makes them all in China, but also it's from China, so it's kind of funny to me. I don't know. So let's see. And as you know, I cut very shallow because I keep the PNSO boxes because they're just amazing at storage and shipping and all that. Okay, so it's just the outer plastic that I need to wife bought this for me for my birthday, and it's like that Hamilton quote, "Best of wives, best of women." So apparently it doesn't have a, it opens differently. Like a fine pair of shoes or something. Okay. So you have, instead of just the normal, we call it the Articulation or the Mamenchiosaurus video, that's a little poster and card. Here, you get essentially this like envelope closed. Let's see. Let's open it and see what's, it's a whole set of things. Okay. So first of all, you do get the same book, the PNSO Creativity, this book here, and there are pictures of activities. Let's see. I think it's like for educational purposes, like pictures of the animal and display designs, all these different things too. Very cool. Oh, there's like a picture of how you should use the box to display it. Another example is, let's see. Yeah, that's a picture of the model itself in more detail. Let's see what else. Let's see. It's not a demo video and curriculum. How to take care of it. Oh, they have cool stuff there. Then we have our just posters down there. This dinosaur, let me see. So it's like a scientific art poster thing. So it's showing you, like if I had a toy company, this is how I would do it. We have a thing like that. Another thing we have is what they all have, the poster here. And a poster of the animal's skull or face. That's skull. There's meat on that. And then the actual poster. So like, there's the actual. Make sure the glare's not gonna get. There's the actual poster of the animal. I'm getting tired opening this package. Oh, this is really fun. This is really cool. So it's a scale. Now there are, I thought. Yeah, okay, 7. They're all there. So there are 7 different named species of Mamenchiosaurus, and this chart gives you, gives you scaling for all of them. So it's showing you all the different species of Mamenchiosaurus, and a helicopter and a human for scale. What's really cool about that is, and I'll go over it more in later on in the video, but this is really neat. Trust me, this is really exciting. So let's see. Next we have. So we have like a background, like a picture of like a wall art kind of display. Basically, you can make your own Mamenchiosaurus exhibit with this stuff. I mean, this is really cool. Let's see. Next we have. There's a lot in here. Okay, so next we have. Let's see. It's just another poster of it. Basically, the sunset, kind of cool, and. And there's a picture, like a poster picture of it battling a sauropod. There's a picture of it with a stegosaur in the environment. So a lot of art with this thing. I mean, you can really make an exhibit on this guy, on this one model alone. What is this? I don't know what this is. Oh, it's for children to draw on. It's a children's drawing space. This is blank paper. Now, that's everything from the envelope except for that little baggie. So I'm going to put these back in the envelope and the instructor's manual. So, it's like getting a fancy, people buy new piece of technology, it's like interesting. Oh, okay, so. Oh, cool. Okay, so there's like this discovery. Oh, sorry, I mean show the discovery of the animal, and I believe these are all the different species that have been known, and the names are down there. Well, they were down in the corner. There's prints of the skull, 3D remodeling of the skull, the vertebra on the neck, which look accurate, the number of vertebrae inside of it. The bones alignment in their skeleton, well, in the limbs. Let's see, what is that? Oh, the tail, which I'm going to go over in more detail in a minute. The tail, why it's so special. Skin. Okay, so apparently this one have activity pages for kids to draw on. I mean, I obviously will be just keeping this for just keeping all this for like all the cool reasons. And there's one more thing right there, and then with the figure. I haven't even seen the figure yet. I'm already like fully endorsing this model. It's really great. Let's see. So some cards here. Okay, so for example, this little card right here. It says, "Welcome to PNSO Dinosaur Museum Scientific Art Exhibition of ER-MA, the Mamenchiosaurus. The exhibit you will meet." So it's like so it's like a setting of exhibit. So discovery, Mamenchiosaurus. Are these like the place cards? So essentially, these are like you go to a museum. There's like a picture, and there's like the labeling basically. It's like teeth of the Mamenchiosaurus, the neck of it. So the pictures we had earlier, there's labels to go with the pictures. Forelimbs, the limbs in general, the battle, the fight scene we saw earlier. Cool, this is really cool. Wait, is that a register card? Anyway, so a lot going on here with this. Like I said, I haven't even seen a figure yet, but I'm like fully endorsing. This is a Jurassic James seal of approval. That if you're going to buy one Mamenchiosaurus this year, it should be this guy here. Let's see, so I'm going to go ahead and put that wonderful set of things over here. So, for the unveiling of the animal itself. Oh, cool. Even the inside of the box has like a little foot and a Mamenchiosaurus next to it. Sauropod foot, I believe. Yeah. What? Yes. So, to see... Huh. Sorry, so open it like this. So this, you have this come down. That meticulously packed, and the animal comes out here. So this is the actual animal. Now I am surprised about its size, and it's like a custom fit. So I'm going to go ahead and pack this back the way I got it, because if I ever move again, or when I move again, I want to make sure it is highly protected. And we will then put this awesome pack of card information here. The box, you know, that's a Fabergé egg of dinosaur toy boxes. So, looking at the animal, so I'm actually surprised at how, well, they give you the measurement online, but I don't know why I think it would be bigger given the size of the box, but this is still really cool, and this is an amazing look for it. One thing to point out, wow, okay. So, one thing to look at, it has the standard sauropod feet, the 3 to 4, in this case 3 big claws, all facing outwards. So you're kind of seeing that right there and there. And forelimb has like, you know, dinosaurs, you don't know, many sauropods, when they're walking, they don't really have these bones. They kind of like walk on, you know, the metatarsals of the palm, sorry, metacarpal. It's like what we consider the palm of our hand, and then like the first set of phalanges is what's on the ground of the spike. So it shows that really well. Also want to point out too that the overall, the tail size, now it has this little club here. There's a dinosaur called a Mamenchiosaurus found in China, and it had a club on its tail too, which is interesting because in some ways, you know, we think of the Thyreophora, like the Ankylosaurus, the Stegosaurus, these guys having armor clubs and plates and stuff, and yet Titanosaurs have armor in their skin, and we now know some sauropods have clubs, right? So it's kind of that idea has changed. I was teaching some kids this, and I mentioned Titanosaurs having armor, and they're like, well, they're Thyreophora. I'm like, well, no, they're still sauropods. So like, but why do they have armor if they're, you know? And then this guy, the neck's going up. So this is more realistic, and in that there's been a number of studies looking at how sauropods held their necks and how different groups of sauropods did that. So where the first guy, let's see here, for the first guy, the neck kind of juts out, goes down. It's kind of like it's almost falling and holding the head up. This one, you know, it's more like those heavier shoulders to kind of hold it together, right? The head is very cool to me because one, it looks very different. Let me get that really close to the camera. So the head to me looks really neat. The face particularly, because where Mamenchiosaurus sits in a family tree is kind of I won't say a mystery, but more of a debate. So in the sauropod group, there's lots of sauropod morpha. There's lots of groups, right? Um, and I remember when I first learned about this animal, I was surprised at how unclear they were, I should say. Um, I will tell you, sauropods in general, sauropod morphs, they're the sauropods are the least understood big picture of dinosaurs because you don't find you don't find much of them, right? You find some vertebra, we find some long bones here and there, some ribs occasionally, but the idea here is where hadrosaurs, concentrated herds in a riverbed, a bend in the river, a point bar, they're deposited there. A sauropod, you'll find some, like Argentinosaurus, a lot of vertebrae here and there, right? So because of these, when they'll find multiple individuals and say, okay, we'll put them together, we get this, right? But the idea is that they're not easy to study. It's like a smaller dinosaur that falls in a lake in China and gets a bare volcanic ash, and it's just like, it's right there, right? So they have not found a skull, from my understanding, or at least the ones I've studied at least. So the initial thought was they were somewhere near the Diplodocus family, and again, it doesn't have to fall in that family directly, because China was separated from North America, Africa, and Europe for the most part. And I went, well, for the most part, the Ural Mountains separated them, and there were a lot of seas and stuff during the Jurassic period, as they're breaking apart. So then there was a study done. And so what other macronaria? So I use the word macronaria a lot. Macronaria, I mean macro big, naria is like your nose hole. So the group that includes Brachiosaurus on one side and the Titanosaurus. Now these aren't just scale because this is Argentinosaurus, which is considered one of the largest animals to ever live. This is a Saltosaurus, which is its own story in its own right. But these guys, like the Brachiosaurus in Jurassic, these guys kind of show up first, and then we have Titanosaurs in the Jurassic, but they kind of proliferate in the Cretaceous period, right? But they're all macronaria, and then there's the Diplodocus group. Now, their macronaria, when you have these macronarians and Diplodocoids, I guess, they are collectively known as Neosauropoda. So I think the latest belief is that Mamenchiosaurus is outside of Neosauropoda, but it's not like Centosaurus, one of the really primitive sauropods, early sauropods, or what we call basal. So it's somewhere in between the early ones and these well-defined groups as far as taxonomy goes. There's debates on which side. Also, even the time period is in. Now, Oxfordians is, which is Middle Jurassic. That, remember, again, there's Mesozoic, Cretaceous, Jurassic, and then the Triassic. Within the Jurassic, there's subdivisions. And Oxfordians will be considered Middle Jurassic. So it's kind of that time frame. But there have been Mamenchiosaurus parts that are found, or thought to be Mamenchiosaurus, that have been found in early Cretaceous, about 110. Well, rephrase that. We don't age the fossil, we age the rock it's in. And sometimes there being 7 species over different units, it's thought that Mamenchiosaurus may live between Middle Jurassic to early Cretaceous. That's a huge range in the fossil record. So some paleontologists actually will think that Mamenchiosaurus itself may be what's called a waste-passing taxon, kind of like Megalosaurus, where one's found as named, and then everything in the area like it is put in that grouping, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're the same genre or genus. So, because it would be unusual to have a one genus stretching for that long, from mid-Jurassic to early Cretaceous. But in general, what's going on here is not so much the fossil itself, but the rock units and their dating, basically. So that's under debate. So, but because some of the smaller Mamenchiosauruses are smaller, are up to like 49, 50 feet long, some of them 60 feet long. So the biggest estimates are about 115 for some species, but overall it's still an amazing animal. And what I like about it most of all is that it's foreign, it's different. What I'm saying is the animal is something that we in America are very used to our Diplodocus and our Brachiosaurus. It's a very well-known group. And here's something this is different. It's still a sauropod. Shares a common ancestor with all these guys, but it's still a different take on being a sauropod. And that's what's worth noting to me personally. I will say again, and I am not paid anyway by PNSO, but I highly recommend this figure. I highly recommend just all the gifts that came with the box alone is worth the price of admission. But it's a beautiful model. It's very, very cool. And also, it's just, like I said, you can get a good look at the from head, the beautiful neck, the body, the bump on the club on his tail. These are all really cool things to think about, and I endorse it 100%. It is the Jurassic James like seal of approval. Again, I will never ever not appreciate this guy. This is my first Mamenchiosaurus, but again, when you look at this, you can really see from 1993. Where are you on this? Let's see, 2021. So from 1993 to 2021, you see a change in how not only this figure is made, but what scientists, how they view, and particularly paleo art model makers, how they view the animal's design. And there's been a lot of work in the 2000s about sauropod anatomy, how they move and all that, how they walk. So that's something that kind of, we're seeing the fruits of that labor in this model. That being said, I will wish you a happy rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in. This is a really cool model. I'm super excited about it. I'm going to put it on my shelf. It's just that it should be at the center of the room. You know, it's really beautiful sauropod. But I must ask you again to like, share, subscribe. The other thing to tell you to ask you to do: like, share, subscribe, ring the bell. And there's one more thing too. That being said, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for tuning in.